Hello everyone, this is Beowulf Rant. Okay, hang on, I'm recording now. Let me go get some context. Oh, okay, here we go. The downfall of AMVs. That's a good title. The reason everybody hates videos now and no one watches this shit anymore, and hasn't for years really, is because the trend in videos, as you know, I've been complaining about for like 4 years now or something. I thought it was bad 4 years ago, right? The trend has been to just create the more and more visual aspects of the video, develop those even more. And obviously that would make sense because you can't really develop the storytelling aspects of an anime music video because it's already done for you with other people's anime and music. So I imagine to put your mark on it and to make your shit stand out, you want to make it look prettier, which is totally cool and totally understandable. But what people didn't really realize that does is that it kind of puts people in this mindset of, well, not only expecting that, which is evil, right, but it really robs your brain of development of the other necessary aspects of creative artistry, for lack of a better word. Like, there's so much more to being creative as far as AMVs go than effects. I mean, there's just so much more. There's what I've been trying to do recently is just get completely into the editing in and of itself. The philosophy of the cut, the aspects of the cut, the fact that I put this thing in 4 frames right here and how that has relevance 300 frames down the road. Like, that's the kind of shit I'm into right now. Which is, you could say that's kind of wankery in its own regard, and I wouldn't argue that. But what it is editing in general has the ability to be emotionally engaging, period. Look at The Godfather. Look at the editing on that movie. That's the #1 movie of all time, so says all those lists. And it's a story about characters and the struggles that they go through. I mean, that's pretty much it. You have characters, you can identify with people. For a human being to enjoy something really on a deep level, to get real enjoyment out of something with anything of life, it's an emotional level, because that's who we are. We're human beings. We're emotional things, right? What happens, to kind of tie this all back, I think, what happens when you spend 4 or 5 years upgrading your computer and learning After Effects and learning Shake and Maya and even fucking 3D Studio Pro for some of you fuckheads, I know you do, then you don't really focus on what I feel and what I think society has shown to be the most important aspect of creative undertaking, which is the story. Again, the good, the bad, and the ugly, that shit don't have any effects, people. It is awesome. It's awesome because of characters and story and plot and pacing and the subtleties within. If you spend so much time developing effects, it gets to a point where it's obviously gotten to a point in the AMV world where effects have become effects for their own sake. I mean, look at something like I love you, Decoy, but look at something like Bleach Technique Beat. I mean, this is like it's like pop will eat itself. I mean, it's just there's nothing to it. It is just a complete exercise in effects, and those, remember when those first started coming out, like 2 or 3 years ago, like the real exercises in effects. I think it was like Naruto's Technique Beat, and I think there was some other shit like that, but that was definitely the most popular one. And those were a really cool novelty. People went, oh man, that looks so fucking cool. And even then you had people complaining, man, this doesn't say anything. There's no story here. But those people were referred to as like story snobs or whatever, like SSJ or something. This doesn't connect to the characters. But people didn't give a shit. It looked really good when you saw it on a big screen at a convention when compared to a bunch of bullshit fan subs that 12-year-olds were still sending into these things and expecting people to watch. So that was really cool. But what it is now is it's just completely out of balance. It's too far. Like, people are either bored with anime, so that would be one reason why I think they're doing this. They're bored with anime because anime does kind of suck if you're like, older than 20, guys. And they think, well, they've been editing for so long, for maybe like 6, 7, 8 years for a lot of these people, and even more for fucks like Vlad or something, right? But they've been editing so long that they just want to do something, and it just becomes editing for its own sake, and it doesn't become about the anime whatsoever, which is, it's not bad, it is what it is. I wouldn't consider that an anime music video. Like, an anime music video is, of course, this definition is debated, of course, but really an anime music video, I think, to most people is a music video using anime and music, duh, and expressing something. I mean, there's a reason that the anime was chosen to represent that music. Period. Usually the song tells the story with the lyrics to the anime and how it relates to a character. That's pretty much the oldest example of classic anime music videos as we can go back. Like, I think, like, the oldest aluminum videos, it's like, Sailor Moon, I'm Blue, Dabba Dee, like that kind of shit. It fits, boom. Very straightforward. That's an anime music video. But I imagine since people have been watching that shit for like 10 years now, they're either bored with it or anime sucks now or something. People just don't know what to do, so they're just kind of, I'm really a big proponent of trying to do original stuff and tell your own story with anime and use, I spent like 2 years making a 25-minute thing trying to tell my own story with anime. But I think I would still consider that an anime music video, because all the animes were chosen because they fit with the song on a level that I felt was important enough to merit their inclusion. Like, Berserk with Irresponsible Hate Anthem. The lyrics fit, and when you hear that song, it fits Berserk. I mean, you see Guts killing people, fucking charging the camera and ripping people's shit open. That fits. It just does. But I still, like, if you see stuff like, what was it called? It's the guy, like, I think Decoy and Aardvark and those French guys who do nothing but effects, like, is the Cowboy Bebop one with the bouncing Beowulf ball thing. Like, that is the epitome of really what is becoming bad, which sucks, because when that thing came out, I loved it, and I still do like it. I love it. It's not an anime music video. It's not emotionally engaging. It tells no story. It's really, like, if you were doped out on fucking acid or codeine and watching that thing, that'd be a life-altering experience. But I mean, but that's what it's for. Like, that will never have any sort of historical impact or emotional impact or anything. Well, if you get emotionally impacted by that, like, give me some of your drugs, I guess, because I don't get it. But I think I feel strongly enough about it to assume that other people would feel that way, because it's just, people don't get turned on when you do that kind of stuff. That's just the way it goes. The question, the more and more you think about this question on why are AMVs so kind of just bad and lame and really effects driven nowadays, the more you think about that, the question gets bigger and bigger and more daunting, because if you go, if this, then why that, and if that, then why this, and it's way too fucking big to type out in text. But in short, to try and summarize, I think that people in general have ADD much more than they did even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and TV is so fast-paced, and we are so bombarded with all this fucking crazy flash bullshit that really just society is just completely speeding up. And that's, you usually hear this kind of talk from 80-year-olds listening to their classical Wagner and saying their kids' music sucks and whatnot. But I think it's really true, and it becomes kind of a really deep spiritual question, or not really question, but it's kind of it's a spiritual issue. To be creative, to develop ideas that pop out of nowhere, to pop out of the ethos, that just get beamed into you, and to develop those things and bring them to fruition is fucking difficult, And what's a lot easier than thinking up an original idea or story is to learn effects. It's a lot easier to learn a program like Adobe After Effects or Photoshop or Shake or Flash or 3D Studio Max or whatever Trifle fucking used in Urban Suite to do what it is he did, than it is to really develop yourself artistically. And to really develop yourself artistically, you can't. There's no such thing. Developing artistically is code for living life. I mean, you can't fake artistic wisdom. To really develop yourself into like, I mean, that's just a question of life experience. Like authors, they write what they know. If you sit in your room all day, you can't write about shit because you don't know anything. It's the same kind of principle. You have to go out and have experience and live life and go through highs and go through lows and process emotions and, all that shit that builds character, like in Calvin and Hobbes, right? and that's the way you develop artistically. You don't develop artistically by learning software. It doesn't fucking work that way. The thing about most of these abstract videos that I've seen, the abstract video art type stuff, like the Decoy stuff and the bouncing Beowulf Vol stuff and the Aardvark stuff, is it What it really is, it strikes me as really creative people who are very creative, obviously, because they wouldn't. Only really creative people have the fucking balls to put that shit out, right? First and foremost. But it's really creative people who have nothing to say. Or maybe they do have something to say, but they're not saying anything, because that kind of shit, people just don't engage it. Maybe they don't want to be engaged, and maybe they don't really have the spiritual maturity to be engaged on that sort of emotional level. Although I think that's bullshit, because that kind of emotional engagement and spiritual engagement that you can get from, anything, even AMVs, that's been around for the long time. It's only just recently that that's kind of falling out of fashion. Which, fuck, if you can answer that question, you're a better man than me. It's like, is it societal? Are people like, why is this not cool anymore? I think maybe, without getting too apocalyptic about society and how evil it is and poisoning it us, a much more reasonable explanation would be anime really fucking sucks now. Those spics in Japan figured out what to do. All anime is watched by 13-year-olds, so they go, let's start making anime for our target audience instead of these masterpieces like Akira and Cowboy Bebop, which makes good money, but not nearly as fucking much as Yu-Gi-Oh! So, it's like, I think it's just greed and basic bullshit. But that's it. When was the last time you've seen an anime that was halfway fucking good? I haven't watched an anime. The last anime I watched was Full Metal Alchemist. And Wonka and I bought like 3 DVDs, and we just had to turn that shit off, because it's like, Jesus, guys, this is not relevant in a 21 and 25-year-old's life. It's just, it's made for fucking 7-year-olds, and there's nothing wrong with stuff made for 7-year-olds. It's just, it's not relevant. You can't relate to it. I can't relate to that shit. It's crap. It's total crap. I mean, when was the last time? It's like, Akira, good anime. Berserk, good anime. Cowboy Bebop, fabulous anime. Samurai X, pretty good anime OAVs. This is good shit. When was the last time anything like that came out? So I think people, to respond to that and to want to make things interesting, are just cooking up bullshit. And I think it's a lot less demanding to be entertained on that kind of a superficial level with flashy images and like big tits, and it's just like one big commercial, than it is to really engage yourself in characters on screen and to kind of have that suspension of belief, that you do when you watch a really good movie or read a really good book. You just get sucked in, you forget where you are, and you're completely following the characters and story. People aren't really doing that nowadays because, to be able to get that kind of response, you have to be really fucking good and know what you're doing. But B, it's just, maybe people just don't like anime that much anymore, and they're not willing to give it that sort of artistic benefit. They don't really give it enough credit to just go, okay, really, and take it that seriously enough. And can you blame them when anime fucking sucks? So, I don't know. Oh, and thing about MADs. MADs are everything that is wrong with everything. Abso-fucking-lutely. There's not a single redeeming element in MADs. MADs, to me, are the pinnacle of what is foreign and alien and stupid about Japanese culture. It's like, Japanese culture is brilliant on so many ways, and, they've been doing it for so long, they've got something on the ball, and I imagine it's ridiculous for an American to be complaining about anybody's culture. But that being said, Japanese culture has a certain sort of element into it that is just fucking stupid and ridiculous, and that's the constant overdevelopment of emotion. There's no subtlety in Japanese emotion in the way it gets portrayed in media whatsoever. People are either extremely angry or extremely sad or dying or living or smiling or killing. There's people don't have mediocre days. It's either Shinji or it's fucking guts. And MADs represent the pinnacle of that. It's like complete shiny, flashy. You can't even get into the horrible music because let's just call a spade a spade. Japanese people are fucking terrible at music. They have nothing to say musically whatsoever. Their music is like 30 years behind the entire fucking planet, and it's just like, yeah, okay, they play great cello and flute. Sorry, dude, that's all you got. You make awful fucking techno club music with anywhere else. And, so for somebody who's trying to watch media and engage it emotionally, and you see him mad, it's just like a cold, wet fucking fish fingering you. It's oh my god, it's just the worst thing on the planet. And I think I'll leave on that note. Okay, bye.